How many times has a screenwriter or director reached out to you and instead of pitching their own ideas, have said to you, I'd like to help you make your idea?
Um, Not often. um, Not often. Usually when people reach out to us, like I said, we don't take unsolicited material. We do have an RFP list, a request for proposal, where periodically from our conversations with the vendors that we are placing films with, we looking right now for YA, whatever, TV series, or so we do send what we're looking for, so there is a form online that people can actually go and join the RFP list. We don't, the fact that you fill up the form doesn't mean we accept everyone. Sadly, or fortunately, depends how you look at it, we work with people that we work in the past and people that have been working. The bad news is that, yes, if you're just an 18-year-old coming out of film school in Minnesota, whatever, it's going to be very hard to suddenly get from us money and go make a movie. But the good thing is that if you are working with us, we keep financing the same filmmakers and oh, what's the next thing you want to do? Sounds great. We'll come in for half, we'll keep working with the same companies and the same people because you're part of the team, right? And I always say it's like making a film is like marriage. It's not like dating. You need to know there's going to be very bad days, that it's supposed to be sunny and it's raining, or the actor is sick, or you're going to have it's going to be very high highs, that you got into Sundance and Variety gave you good reviews, and you need to, just like marriage, to know that you can be a team and you can kind of write it and have very serious discussion, but when you come out in front of the kids, be a united front and all that kind of, and it's a very risky business to just bring somebody into your house and I'll make a movie with you. It's you need to spend a lot of time with those people. And I always say look, scripts can change. You can hire somebody to polish them. You can just say, hey, I don't like this script, I don't like this project, let's write something else. The people don't change. So I always say how can I get to invest in script? We don't really invest in script. We invest in people and companies. So we would with Tom Eloy's come, we finance, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, I don't even know, I lost count. But it's this is the next thing I want to make, and we know the quality, we know the delivery on time, we know, it's an easy deal to do. It's a lot easier for us to say great, what's the budget? X will come in for half. Great, We're usually not going to invest more than half because we want the other side to have a skin in the game. We do have an aggregation business, so we have hundreds of movies on Tubi, Pluto, Sumo, Amazon, you name it. So we do have a lot. We're data-driven because I started in tech and I'm very, come from the analytical point of view. So we really keep in top of trends and what there is a need in the marketplace. And that's a lot of where the stuff with Greenlight come from, right? So we have a company that they make faith-based movies. They're based out of Atlanta, Georgia. That's what they do. We know exactly what they do. They're micro budget. We know how much you make. We sell them to PureFlix. We sell them to UpTV. We know, it's a very working system. So, and because we're backed by financial institution, we have access to capital, right? So if they used to make, one movie a year and then we would sell it and then it will take time, we can just keep rolling, right? So instead of making one movie every year or two, now we're making 4 of them a year, and just keep, making the movie, putting it on selling to UpTV or PureFlix, putting on Tubi, all those places, we're advancing the next one and just keep rolling. It's a lot harder when it's just somebody stranger come with just something, you know what I mean? It's a lot easier when it's a consistent work.
Right. Well, what if somebody says, I want to be the next one that does these PureFlix movies?
Right.
How do I get in your roster? You just got to get to know me.
You kind of need to first make the first few of them, and we need to sell them for you so we know the quality, we know what works. It's usually start with that. It starts with us picking up as a third-party content.
Okay, so it's you can't put the cart before the horse where
exactly.
you have to vet yourself, start making them on your own. You can't just say, hi, I'm over here, can you give me a chance?
Right, because we have, think about it, we already have, we have a couple of dozens of clients that they're all production houses, right? You don't need another, like, why would I, in the end of the day, money is finite and resources are finite. Like, we don't need to, we don't want to make 1 million project a year. Like, so if like we need another faith-based movie, like, why would like just somebody lifting their hand say, I'll make a faith-based, but okay, but we're working with those two companies that already experience, their own equipment, they have, the formula down, like, we already have agreements, we literally change the date and the name of the project, and, it just makes your life so much easier. But that's true for everything, people go to their favorite restaurant, people go, just kind of understanding that again, I think it's good because when you work with us, it's usually a very long-term relationship. It's harder to get in, for sure.
Right. But you said previously that every business is hard to get in. Like, there's this misnomer that the industry is just so difficult, it's all who you know. And you said, well, but every business is
Right. So I'm saying it's hard to get in to get financing. To get distribution is easy. If you have a project, you can submit it to us. We literally have 5 people that all they do all day long is watch movies, right? It's very easy to get when you have a film, completed film. To send a script and asking you for $500,000, that's a very different game. But the distribution side is easy. Like, look, you can even put stuff yourself on YouTube. You can monetize it so easily. But, the distribution part is easy. So if you're talented, and again, I think that if you're talented and go like, I'm the next Tarantino, but I need $2 million to like prove it to you. It's like, I have in my pocket a device that costs $1,000 that can shoot 8K, and then a $20, store account can make anything you want. So, maybe there's somebody else that has the talent and the tenacity to kind of make it happen, and if it's great, yeah, we will put it out there. We'll put it in Tubi. We'll pitch it to Netflix. We'll do whatever we need to do to get it out there. And now we'll work on other things because you've proven that you both have the talent and you have the grit to make stuff happen, right?
I like that grit. That's good.
It's all about grit.
What is grit?
Grit is the capacity to consistently keep going in a direction while learning from failures and improving from them. And that is not it's a definition I came up right now. So, I don't know what the actual definition, but that's kind of what I think is grit as, So, they teach you, you from Silicon Valley, right? So, there's the whole entrepreneurial, it's like failures are just, opportunity to learn. And I think that's a part of it. I think a lot of I think my success in the business came because I remember when I was a personal assistant, I was very young, and I saw a panel. I don't remember who it was. I don't remember where it was, but I remember, like panels, like usually in the end, they go like, okay, now everybody give like your closing words. And it's always like, if you have a dream, just keep knocking on doors, just keep knocking. And then there was one guy that says like, well, if enough people telling you no, maybe they're right and you're wrong. Okay. And that's always stuck with me. That it's like, if you've been sending the same script, like, and you see that, like, now that I've been doing this for 25 years, it's like, there are people like, oh, what are you working on? Oh, we have a TV show with Netflix, and we have a contract with Apple, and it's like, we have this. And then there's people, it's like, oh, what are you doing? It's like, oh, it's like a mom. Like, oh, you still have that script from 10 years ago? You're still trying to push that? It's like, at some point, you need to, like, take what you learn. Maybe there is a character that you like, maybe like, you build relationships sending it, like, but like move on, like, take whatever you learn from this to the next one, not just like keep knocking your head against the wall, on the 20th revision of the same thing. And if people keep telling you, no, that's not the right one, it's like, there's also you're not going to write or make a first movie and it's going to be like just the perfect film. Yes, Tarantino did it, but it's one out of bazillion people, you know what I mean? It's like, it's usually you need to work, you need to be a PA, you need to work in camera department, you need to learn the technical aspect, you need to, write and read and get feedback until you really get to that, something actually great, And
going back to grit, how did you know you had grit?
I don't know, do I?
Well, you've been in this business, you said 25 years?
Yeah. I really think it's it's maybe because of, I need to find who it was. It says, you know, hey, you hear a no, you go like, okay, what can I learn from that? You know, it's like somebody's not answering, you know, your email or not accepting it, as you kind of need to figure out why. And instead of trying to like blame them, it's like, they don't see how brilliant I am, or, you know, why don't they buy it? It's like, okay, well, what do they buy? Like, who they buy it from? What are those budget? Who are the actors in it? Who are the directors in it? Who are the producers in it? You know, I moved to LA. Everybody had a way more knowledge. Like, I grew up in a country that you basically have only studio movies, right? So, like, speaking of horror movies, right? It's like, you know, the horror movies I knew was like Jaws, Nightmare at Elm Street, and Alien. You know, that's all the horror movies I've seen. You know, here there's people from age 6, you know, they're like watching George Romero and, you know, indie films, and, you know, and you know, I didn't have the access for that stuff. But when I started as a personal assistant, I had a little black book. I'll never forget, I had like, I made myself like a chart. And like every day I read the trades, I watch a movie a day, I research who the director, the main cast, their managers, their agents, and then like find like the next one for the next day, right? So, you know, I knew that I'm at least watching a movie a day and researching, you know, one kind of person, and like, okay, well, who else is this agent, you know, repping, and kind of like, you know, go to the next one. And yeah, and I think also, you know, like, look, when I was a personal assistant, like, you know, we knew the CAA phone number by heart. We are more, like, I probably still know it. You know, I don't know if, you know, people still doing that. People like, you know, because the information is so easily on like IMDb Pro or whatever, like it's so easy to get information, but there is value of touching the information, you know, and actually, you know, looking at it and, you know, copy and paste those things. And I think there is a lot of value in that, because when you touch it, you actually understand it. This is why even to that day, I still like a lot of what we do in the reporting, I do myself, because I like to see like, what was this week our #1 movie on Tubi? What was this week our #1 movie on Amazon? How much is that? How much, you know, how the numbers compare to last month? How was the numbers compared to this month last year? You know, it's very important for me to touch those things. You know, it's, yes, the computer kind of does it automatically. We have a reporting system and it just kind of, the numbers go, but I like to look at them and touch them, because otherwise I wouldn't know. I wouldn't know what works. All my knowledge would be based on, you know, 10 years ago if I didn't follow it consistently.
Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end. Here is a complimentary question from our book Story Questions.